Hello and welcome to another episode of A Closer Look. Thank you for joining us. On the morning of May 24th, a massive landslide descended upon Yamell village in the Mulitaka LLG of Enga province. The devastation left behind a trail of destruction and despair as it reportedly claimed the lives of more than 160 individuals. The unprecedented tragedy received heartfelt response from the provincial, national, and international fronts.
The local authorities in Enga has described the massive landslide in Mulitaka as an unprecedented natural disaster. The disaster hit Yamell village at about 3 a.m. on the 24th of May, resulting in deaths over 160 and destruction of houses and other properties. The total land area affected by the landslide is around 200 square kilometers, which includes about 150 meters of the main highway from Wabeg to Pogera, which is completely destroyed by the landslide. The Enga provincial government deployed a rapid emergency response team comprising officers from the Provincial Disaster Office, Provincial Health Authority, Police, PNG Defence Force, and Enga-based international organizations to the site to do impact assessment on the extent of the damages.
We've estimated the incident has affected 7,849 people. The population of the impacted area is estimated to be 7,849 at that present, which covers a total of 1,427 households. So as that figure shows, it's a significant impact area that has left a lot of people displaced, traumatized, injured, and importantly, we expect, as we do the recovery measures, we expect to recover significant loss of human lives.
The national government, through the National Disaster Office, with the provincial and district, are focusing on relief supplies, shelter for the affected communities, and search and recovery.
Landslide, we prioritized search and rescue, immediate relief supplies, both food items and living utensils, temporary shelters for the impacted community, and obviously providing other emergency assistance. We've set up two care centers on both sides of the landslide, one at the Pogoro end and one at the Wabeg end of the landslide. Those facilities are at the current existing health center facilities, so we're building capacity, putting up our resources in those two areas to provide additional assistance that will be ongoing. We are very encouraged by the support we've been getting from both national and international partners.
The relief effort started with local businesses, government and international organizations supplying food rations, emergency shelter and other relief supplies to the affected communities. With the news of the landslide reaches the international communities, relief assistance has been provided from the international partners like the European Union, United Nations, Save the Children, the US Embassy in PNG, JICA, Australian Aid, and many more.
The European Union leaders have joined the other world leaders in expressing their shock, grief and condolences to the people of PNG following the latest disaster in Enga. The European Commissioner for Crisis Management, Mr. Renarci, had announced yesterday an initial 150,000 euros, or about 621,000 kina, in emergency assistance, which will be channeled through the humanitarian agencies on the ground already. Other individual EU member states are also preparing to send their support. Furthermore, the EU and its 27 member states could provide additional assistance through the EU Civil Protection Mechanism, which can be activated by the PNG authorities to a simple email request.
According to the provincial member for Enga, Sir Peter Ipatas, the national government has given 500,000 kina initially through the Office of National Disaster to set up and finance the relief efforts. Businesses within the country also assist in providing financial assistance. A donation of 1 million kina was given by the ICTSI, the leading terminal port operator in Papua New Guinea. Seipatas acknowledged the support from international partners and also businesses in the country. However, he emphasized that the landslide has affected the operation of the Porgera mine, but most importantly, affecting the people in Porgera because the road access has been cut off.
And then, of course, on the other side, we have got a bit of a landslip. The road is cut off. And people on the other side, Porgera, and that area will soon run out of food because we can't get supplies across because of the road closure.
It's been more than 7 days since the landslide occurred and buried more than 160 people. According to Sir Peter Ipatas, he said in medical perspectives, the health team advised them that they can presume that all the people covered are dead.
From medical perspective, they told us that we can presume that all of them have passed away. But we are now having our public service and do interviews, find ways of exactly establishing how many have died. So they've got to get information, but that's a central location where people from the other side of the river also come and, stay, because this is the highway. So it's sort of a central meeting place for a lot of people. So that has to be established. So our public servants are now in the process of establishing that.
The site is unsafe at the moment as the landslide is very active. In order to fully recover the bodies and properties, a geotech assessment must be done to guarantee the recovery team to conduct their work. Until then, the loved ones of the people who have perished in the landslide are using spades to dig with the hope that they will recover their family members.
Unfortunately, the landslip is still unstable, so we have to get expertise from Atmosphere, and also have asked for Australians and New Zealanders to assist us with geotech people who will go out there and do a study so that we try and do everything safely.
The Enga provincial government has indicated in a report on the 29th of May, stating that so far 4 bodies have been found, with 6 segmented parts of the bodies have been recovered. They have set up Mulitaka Health Center as a command post, establishing a care center and working to improvise the main facility as a primary triads center. Layagam Hospital is the secondary care facility for more severe injuries, with a medical officer and ambulance on standby, and any further referral will be sent to Wabeg. With world leaders passing their condolences to the affected people in Mulitaka in Enga province, His Majesty King Charles has also expressed shock and sadness over the recent landslide. He conveyed his condolence message through the Governor-General, Sir Bob Dadai.
After this break, we will take a closer look at what transpired in the first week of the recent Parliament sitting. Stay with us. Welcome back to a closer look. With motive to push forward a vote of no confidence against Prime Minister James Marape, the nation in the last few days witnessed a breakaway of a stronghold political party, decommissioning of ministers, sudden movement of leaders between the alternate government and the government, and another defect in the motion of the vote of no confidence. Join our reporter Grace Papiali with a highlight of what unraveled in the first week of Parliament sitting recently.
The alternate government has welcomed 4 state ministers and other 10 to the opposition camp at the Century Hotel on Sunday, the 26th of May 2024. With that, the numbers has gone up to 35 members in the opposition. This move signified an idea of a breakaway from the leadership of incumbent Prime Minister James Marape, Pangu Party and its coalition partners.
It'll take a band of leaders, a team to address all the issues, and I think this team is gelling together in the like minds of a lot of experienced individuals that we find on this table. Governors who have that quality, leaders who have experience in the legal side, engineering, and I hope to be the one to stitch together those unique qualities so that we can form a government that can address some of our issues. I will not rely on my education or my experience, no. Where I falter, I think most of them can compensate on the table and we can sit together. And I will find solace in things in leaders like Sepu Katemo, who was one of the persons strategic in putting together Vision 2050. We have former Attorney General and Petroleum Minister. We have some of the people who stitch together Vision 2050 as well, the Governor Bird as well, and some of the quality leaders we have. So my job is to find the numbers and the leaders to stitch together a team, not a Prime Minister, a team that can address issues.
This has flagged the move of the government to camp at Lolowata with a solid intact of 74 members.
Members of government side, all coalition partners who have been partners with Pangu Party since 2019 remain put. Our partnership remains, our number remains above the majority lines. Majority is 56. We've had a majority of 93 members of parliament since the last defect in February. We still maintained at count this morning, at head count leaving Lolowata, 74 leaving Lolowata at the ferries. And I just want to say a word of appreciation to all leaders who are here at their own choice. There was no coercion, no influence. The coalition we've put together in 2019 and the coalitions that have embraced our shared leadership and aspirations in 2022 are back on deck. It is entirely up to all members of parliament to decide on what they feel is a team that could take this country on from where we are today. Many issues at stake, lawlessness, economy, our census coming up, our LG elections coming up, our Bougainville issues remain unfinished and complete. Many issues on the table at stake for our country. We're using this time in retreat, funded by all our political party that is a coalition to this government. We're taking this time as a retreat to relook at how we fared in the last 18 months and what we must do and do better for our country going forward. The leaders who've left government have their own reasons. Some of them are good reasons for our country. We certainly embrace those reasons why they've left, and together a coalition government remains strong.
Following day one of Parliament session, leader of the alternate government, Douglas Tomoriesa, made an appeal to other members of Parliament in the government to join the alternate team.
Honorable leaders on the other side, please, let's put our differences aside. Let's join hands together for a cause of change, for a better Papua New Guinea tomorrow. The people of Papua New Guinea are waiting for the change, and the change will only come by if we leaders put our heads together for one cause, and that is to change the direction of Papua New Guinea.
A notice of motion of vote of no confidence was handed to the Private Business Committee on Wednesday, the 29th of May 2024. However, a mistake was identified. 11 names were submitted instead of 12 as required.
The Private Business Committee met today during lunch to consider a notice of motion of no confidence in the Prime Minister, Honorable James Marape, received by the Chair today. All members of Parliament, behind him this la paipala, head la tok and Mr. Pinis. Committee igo trulongen na ilukim. Number 1, in order. Number 2, in order. Number 3, ME in order. Number 4, ME in order. Number 5, ME not in order.
This has prompted Prime Minister Marape to respond.
I don't know what level of intelligence it is, but someone was not serious in the most serious transaction of Parliament that goes to affect government that is running to be disposed and installation on the alternate government they are proposing. It is a mistake that now it concerns us that it is a 4th in a row mistake that they've done. Some of us here are questioning whether it's a deliberate ploy and mistake done because they don't have the numbers. As shown in this sitting of Parliament, the numbers takes up to 33. Our combined number here as I speak today, men on strength with us, 77, and others are not in camp right now. They're doing their own business.
Mr. Marape made an appeal to both local and international investors and business communities to not be bothered by politics.
One thing Papua New Guineans should be proud of is that we've allowed changes of government to take place or government formations to happen following the due process of law and constitution. Our own government's focus on Wafi Golpu. Last night there was a good signing on Pasca where 50% owned by PNG stakeholders, 50% by the investor. Our focus on Pinyang, and our focus on Frida and other projects are still running as we speak. I just want to appeal to all investors, small and big, out there. As you have worked with our Minister for Trade or Minister for State Enterprise, all ministers of our cabinet, including the sector, economic sector ministers, let's progress what needs to be progressed. One thing I can tell you is that this government will not be lost. One thing I can tell you, this government will not be lost. As shown in February, as shown again here in May, that number remains on the government side. All investors, you have focus in our country, let's keep on working.
We will now take a quick break, and when we return, we will highlight the 5-year achievement of PNG government from 2019 to date. You're watching A Closer Look. Plans of maintaining service delivery has been the priority of the government. With that, Prime Minister James Marape has recently announced the 5 years of governance achievement from 2019 to 2024.
On the 30th of May 2024, Prime Minister James Marape has stated the achievements of the government, starting with the economy. He also took the time to admit that the government is aware of the cost of living and household items in the country.
Our families are struggling to put food on the table. Our parents are struggling to pay for the cost of their children's health and education. Food costs and household costs have increased quickly over the last 2 years, and I am admitting this. As any responsible government, we must make admissions so that we make interventions for the better going forward. From available information, living standards today, and I just want to put this out so everyone have a read on this. This is from the information we have in government. From available information, living standards today are 38% lower than that at independence.
Mr. Marape said with proper fiscal policy tools used, the country's economy was recovered.
We have made progress despite the headwinds of worst global pandemic in a century, despite the wars that is happening elsewhere, despite the uncertainty in Middle East that has a link to oil price that affects us also. We also know that families are struggling, but we have deliberately used our fiscal policy tools before us to try our very best to contain an economy that would have gone haywire if we made no intervention. The clearest demonstration of the ship turning around, for instance, whilst the quantum mention of an economic growth is not an answer to an individual's problem, but at the macro level, I just want to indicate, for instance, when we took office in 2019 on record. IMF statistics, World Bank statistics, our own central government statistics, central bank statistics, and treasury statistics confirm we had an economy of 79.6 billion kina in 2018 rather. We took over in 2019, it expanded. In 2023 rather, our economy was 111 billion kina economy. This year it is forecasted that it will be 122.5 billion kina economy, a 43 billion kina higher economy in the last 5 years. If it had taken the first 44 years of our nation's life to grow economy to a 79 billion kina in 2018-2019, it has taken 43 billion kina in 4 hard years and 5 hard years to post this growth. This came at the backdrop of responsible fiscal policy adjustments by our government. In 2023, for instance, the GDP was 31.9 billion kina above 2018 level. In 2022, it was 31.8 billion kina above 2018. In 2021, it was 12.2 billion kina above 2018 level. Each of these differences represents additional production, additional earnings that our economy makes each year above what we had in 2018. Over the whole 5 years, the government, when you add it up, the accumulation to our national economy is 43 billion kina. We are now sitting above 111 billion kina economy. That means economic opportunity is much, much bigger than where the economy and participants in the economy had in 2019 or 2018.
He furthermore highlighted on the role central bank played and the outcomes seen.
But today, as I speak, we have the highest ever foreign reserve in our central bank. On record, this would be the highest our country has ever had, over 3.956 million, 3,956 million or 3.9 billion US dollar in the central bank. This is enough to cover 10 months of import, well above the international benchmark of 3 to 6 months. Bank of PNG is using this high level of reserves and supports the government's financing program to inject more foreign exchange in the market. Indeed, in 2023, for instance, Bank of PNG injected over $1.6 billion into the foreign exchange market, worth nearly $6 billion. This is a massive level of funding support in just 2023 to solve the foreign exchange shortage, contrary to what many may say, almost equivalent to a combined budget in health and education of $6.2 billion in 2023. There was huge backlog of forex, and Mrs. Deputy Speaker, I just want to indicate to this House, Central Bank has been clearing this backlog. By the end of March 2024, outstanding forex orders of more than 2 months old for trade goods and services has fallen by 46 million. This is a much better result than expected. We are on track to get rid of backlogs on foreign exchange orders, on traded goods by 2025, and on dividends by 2026, and return to kina full convertibility by 2027.
That's all we have for you on this episode of A Closer Look. Join us same time next week for another episode. On behalf of the entire team, thank you for watching and pleasant viewing.